For this chapter, we're going to have another look at templates. And in this case, we're going to create a social media post, and we're going to use the assets that are already available in Canva. So I'm going to scroll across here when I'm on the Canva landing page. Once I've created my account and logged in, and I can jump over to social media selection via this tab. Just need to scan across to find social media. This is a square graphic, and it starts with a blank canvas. However, we can see that there are a number of templates available here in the left menu. So what we're going to do now is just have a look through and see if we can find a template that's going to suit what we're after. I'm going to try this one here where we've got the split, image to the right, and then a diagonal line to the left. So one thing we can do is select the shapes, and we can change our colors. So we've got our default colors in place. And if we've got a premium Canva account, we're able to add our own color swatches that match our brand. So these are our 4 main color swatches for Pixelhaze and Pixelhaze Academy. And we've got this navy blue, light blue, yellow, and white. Don't necessarily need white because it's available in the default colors, but it's just nice to have everything together. You can also choose a new color via the selector. And so if you have your own brand colors and you don't want to pay for a premium account just yet, you could then select a color or find the hexadecimal value, the 6 digits after the hash key here, for your brand colors. And then you can add them in that way. If you're going to be using Canva an awful lot, I would recommend upgrading to the premium account simply because you're going to find a lot of this is going to be much quicker to work with. Plus, you get access to all of the stock library that's built into Canva. If not, you can still upload your own photos and you can use a resource like Unsplash, find free stock imagery you can use within your Canva workspace. So I can change this title. Actually, that works quite well. I was hoping it would be a little bit messier because sometimes you'll find that content you have doesn't fit the frame. So if I was to put a longer title, you see what I mean. So even with templates already in place, start seeing now that this content doesn't quite match the structure that this was intended for. So I could select everything in that text block by holding down Control and A. That's holding Control, pressing A to select all. That's a universal keyboard shortcut. And I can reduce the font size as a starting point. And when we're using templates, we're often doing this to get nice consistent spacing. So what we're looking for is consistency wherever we can get it. So this being a little bit wider here than below. So by just moving it up a little bit, sometimes we can do it by eye. Another way around it is actually adding a shape. So I could add a rectangle. And I could put the rectangle just below that title and the top of the image. I can then either duplicate it or just move it down. And it's not too bad there. Move it one more. So we can use shapes just to give ourselves spacing guides. And what we're looking for is consistency. Consistency is key. We want to make sure that the spacing is consistent wherever possible. So we want the space at the top here to really match the space at the bottom if we can. This is especially important for graphics that you can render. Obviously, web pages are fluid by nature, so we can't always have that level of control when we're designing for web. But when we're designing graphics, we certainly can. Another option I've got here now, obviously, is I can change the font. And then when we change the font, we really see it looking very different. So again, we can resize the text. I left my rectangle in place, so I could have kept the consistency the same again. So you can see just the font selection makes a big difference. If I decide to trim down my text, again, I'm going up to this font selection tool and scaling up, or I could guess it from this drop-down menu, or I can enter in size that I want. The other option I've got is to extend the text block so it comes nearer that line, but I don't want to do that because I want to keep that nice spacing to the right. So I'm going to just nudge the font size down until that G comes in line. So we don't have the word split over multiple lines. Okay, so that's starting to work. Here we go. I've just added a bit of text in place. Now we've got the website address in place. We've got a few different font selections here, and I want to just simplify this. So if I went with Montserrat Classic, I could then adjust this font to match. This is also Montserrat here as well. So what we're trying to do is to get an alignment. So if you choose a font for headings, we want to keep that font consistent because consistency is key, even if the paragraph content is different. It's about what balances and what matches your eye. Again, we've got the same issue where it's no longer a condensed font, so it takes up more width. So we may just have to adjust it. I'm going to put it in bold again to match the heading. And we can see that tie in now visually with the information above. I could put an extra space in between text and then move it down a little bit. So even though we've got more space at the bottom this time, you can either then click, hold and drag and select every item. In Canva, it's quite useful that if you've got a background color, it won't select that. And I can make the whole of that content centrally aligned to the page. Because this is a text box, there's a little bit more spacing there, so I might want to just nudge it up just a tiny bit. Here we go. So Canva has some visual guides that pop up with the purple lines. It's not amazing for that, but as long as you've got it pretty accurate by eye, it makes a big difference. What we're trying to avoid is situations like this where text is really close to the edge and it's quite jarring when there's just a lack of breathing space for the content. We're aiming for this effect here. We've got nice, smooth and consistent spacing around the text. Finally, then we can change our photo. Let's see if we can find something. Search under elements for Canva. And because we're on Canva, obviously we can find a series of elements on here. So we could put the Canva logo in place. That's still not going to quite do what we want. Maybe go with a tie box photo and drop that in. So now all of a sudden we've got our photo to the right. Again, kept that line because we're using the template and it's doing a lot of the hard work for us. I can double click on the photo and now I can move that photo across to the left. Can't rescale it down because of the angle the photo's on. So I just have to select an area that I'm happy with where it might cut off to the right. So I haven't brought it in quite far enough there. If we look at here, might be able to move it up just a little bit. We'll bring it across. We're going to lose the end of our nose of our, I'm assuming, dinosaur. So it's not a perfect image option. However, one thing that's quite useful for it is that we've got this space at the top here to put the Canva logo in place. But to give you an idea of how we can use elements together in an existing template, this is a really good example. What we'll be doing next up is showing how we can use our own branding that we've uploaded into the system, which will be our own font, and adding our Pixelhaze Academy logo in place, and how we can do that quickly using image uploads or a brand toolkit that's available for premium users in Canva. See you in a bit.